Okay, now in yesterday's video you kind of saw how this works. Now you're going to get a chance to do it on your own. You can go, the problems on your own are 1, 2, 3, and 4, so 4 problems. And those are the assigned problems. When you think you're ready to go, you may go ahead and work. Okay, so I've got 4 times x plus 2 times y equals 34, and then 10 times x plus negative 4 times y equals negative 5. So there is no base equation that you can just circle the letter by itself. So what I do is I circle the x's, circle the y's, 2y, negative 4y, and then 35 and negative 5. Now what I do is I look and see if I can label either the x's or the y's to be the same. Well, 4 and 10 aren't the same, and 2 and 4 aren't the same, so I don't have anything that's the same. So I put no same either. No base, no same. So what I do is I need to do the times, times, times. So what I do is I say, okay, on the bottom, what's the very first number you see? You see 10. So you're going to times 10 times 10 times 10. They all got to be 10. Now you're also going to times the bottom, so I'm going to put times, times, times. It's got to be the same number that I times by, though. Now, on the bottom, the first number was a 10. Now, what's the first number you had on top? You had a 4, so we're going to times 4 times 4 times 4, okay? So I take 4x times 10, and that's 4 times 10 is 40 with x, and then plus. Then I take 2 times 10, that's 20 with y. And then I take 34 times 10. Now that's a high number, it's 340, but you have a calculator, so don't get freaked out if the numbers get big. Now this bottom, 10 times 4 is 40 with x. Negative 4 times 4 is negative 16 with y equals. And then negative 5 times 4 is negative 20, okay? So now I try to the circles again, okay? So 40x and 40x, 20y and negative 16y, and then 340 and negative 20. Now I at least see one of them has the 40 and 40 are the same, so I'm going to put same right there. And I'm going to make a little box because this is going to tell me if I have to switch the signs or not. So I write 40x and 40x. Now that's positive on top and it's positive on bottom. They should not both be the same, okay? You need a positive and a negative, so I need to write switch. Okay, so switch, that means I'm going to switch the bottom to the opposite. So the opposite of 40 is negative 40. The opposite of negative 16 would now be positive 16, and the opposite of 20 is now positive 20. Okay, and now I'm going to add. So I'll write the words plus, plus, and plus. That's, you're always going to plus. So I take 40 plus negative 40. Okay, so I got 0, so don't write anything, just slash that out. And then I have 20 and positive 16, so 20 plus 16 is 36 with y. Okay, and then I take 340 plus 20, so 340 plus 20 is 360. Okay, now I can dot my y, and all I have to do is divide, and I have my answer for y. So 360 divided by 36 is 10. Okay, so y equals 10. So that's what's y, so I want to put 10 for y. Now to get your other answer, I should have done this after I did my circles. I write the very top number I had to begin with, the top equation. So I had 4x plus 2y equals 34. Okay. All right, so we know that y equals 10, so we can parenthesize the y and put 10, and 10 has to be times by 2. 10 times 2 is 20. Before equals, we got plus 4x, and then equals 34. So I dot my x, circle it, then I minus 20 from each side. 34 minus 20 is 14, so 4 dot x equals 14. And then I divide by 4. and I divide 14 by 4 on my calculator. So 14 divided by 4 is 3.5. So that's a decimal. That's okay. If you get decimals, you got to just keep moving. Okay, my next problem. Again, there's no base. So I want to circle the x's, 3x and negative 7x, 6y and 8y, and 42 and negative 108. And after I do that, I'm going to write the very top equation, 3x plus 6y equals 42. I think that's good to do at the beginning. Okay, now so I'm looking for something that's the same with 3 and 7 aren't the same, and 6 and 8 aren't the same. So we need to do the times, dot, 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 dot. And that means multiply. So what's the first number we have on the bottom here? Negative 7. Now you can times by negative 7. You can also times by just 7 instead of, if you don't want to do a negative. Okay, it's fine. It'll all work out in the end. But as long as it's some kind of 7, you got to get that. So 3. So I'm going to times 3, 3, and 3. Okay, so I take 3 times negative 7. That's negative 21 with x. And then I'm going to take 6 times negative 7. That's going to be negative 42 with y. And then I'm going to take 42 times negative 7. That's going to be negative 294. Okay. Okay, now I also got a times on the bottom. I take negative 7 times 3. Negative 21 with x. 8 times 3 is 24 with y. Then I take negative 109 times 3, and that's negative 327. Okay, so now I got to decide if I need to switch the signs or not. Because now I can circle again. And I do have the same thing right here. Okay, now what are those same things? 21x, 21x. Now they look to me like they're both negative. Now remember, we needed one to be negative, one to be positive, so we have to do the switch. Okay, so the negative 21 becomes positive. The 24, positive 24, that becomes negative. And the negative 327, it's negative now, it's going to become positive. Okay, and now I plus. So plus, P-L-U-S. Okay, so I take negative 21 plus 21, and I got 0, so that means I can slash that out. Don't write anything. Now I have negative 42 plus negative 24. That was negative 66 with y. Then equals. And then I take negative 294 plus positive 327. So negative 294 plus 327, and that's 33. Okay, so I dot my y, and then I divide by negative 66. Those cancel. So I divide 33 by negative 66. I got a decimal, that's okay. So negative 0.5, and that's y. Okay, so now we're going to put this in for y. So I parenthesize y and just put a little negative 0.5, and I need to times those two. So I take 6 times negative 0.5, and that's negative 3. So negative 3 plus 3x equals 42. So I dot my x and circle it, and I'm going to add 3. So 3 dot x equals 45, and then I divide by 3. Okay, 45 divided by 3 is equal to 15. Okay. So it's not real fun. I mean, it's got steps in it. So again, this next one, there's no base that I see. So I circle the x's, I circle the y's, and the numbers, and then I write the top equation, 4x plus 1y equals 2. Okay, so I don't have, that's not the same, and that's not the same, so no same. Nothing's the same. So we got to do the dot, 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 dot. So what's the first number we have in front of the x on the bottom? We have 2. So I'm going to go 2, 2, 2. Now what's the first number I have on top? I have 4. So 4, 4, 4. So 4x times 2 is 8 with x, plus 1y times 2 is 2 with y, and then 2 times 2 is 4. Now the bottom, 2 times 4 is 8 with x, 3 times 4 is 12 with y, and then negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. Okay? Now circle the x's and the y's again. We'll circle these. And out of the x's and the y's, this is what's the same right here. Okay? So I've got 8x and 8x. And they're both positive. Well, one needs to be positive, one needs to be negative, so I need to do the switcheroo. So switch your 8 to negative, switch your positive 12 to negative, and switch the negative 4 to positive. Okay? All right, and then I do the plus, 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 plus. Okay? So I'm going to add. I'm going to take 8 plus negative 8, and that's 0, so I can cross that out. I'm going to take 2 plus negative 12. That's negative 10 with y. Okay, and then I just take 4 plus 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. So dot your 10. Divide by negative 10. And 8 divided by negative 10 is negative 0.8, and that's the y. So y is negative 0.8. Okay, so I go to my y, and I'm going to put negative 0.8 in for that. So I'll be taking negative 0.8 times 1. That's negative 0.8. Then before equals, I have to add a 4x, and then equals 2. Okay? So I'm going to dot my 4 and circle it. So I'm going to add 0.8 to both sides. That gives me 2.8. So 4 dot x equals 2.8. Here, I'll show you. So 2 plus 0.8 is 2.8. Okay? So then I divide both sides by 4. And I take 2.8 divided by 4, and I got 0.7. So you can't be freaked out about decimals if you get them. Okay, my next problem. There's no base. Okay. So I circle the x's and the y's, and then the numbers here. So 2 and 6 aren't the same, 4 and 5 aren't the same, so none of my letters have the same thing. So I need to do dot, 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 and dot, dot, dot. Now, what do we have as the first number on bottom? We have a negative 6, so you can either times by negative 6, like I'm going to do, or you can just times them all by 6. It won't really matter. Okay, what do I have in front on top? I have a 2. So 2, 2, 2. So I take 2 times negative 6, negative 12 with y. Then I take 4 times negative 6. That's negative 24 with 2, sorry, that's x, negative 12 with x. And then negative 24 with y, that's an x. Then I take negative 12 times negative 6, and that gives me positive 72. Okay, now here I take negative 6 times 2, that's negative 12 with x. I take 5 times 2, and that is 10 with y. And I take 2 times 2, which is just 4. Okay? Now go down here. So I have 12. So circle first. So 12 and 12 are the same. So same right there. And I've got 12x, 12x. Both of them are negative. Again, we have to switch because I need a negative and a positive when I plus. Okay, so I need to switch the 12 to positive. The positive 10 now switches to negative 10, and the positive 4 now switches to negative 4. Okay, so I plus, and plus. Okay, so negative 12 plus 12, okay, is 0, so we can get rid of that. Negative 24 plus negative 10 is negative 34 with y, means negative 34 times y. And then I take 72 plus negative 4, and that's 68. Okay, so I dot my y, and then I'm going to divide by negative 34. Okay, 68 divided by negative 34 gives me negative 2, and that's y. So negative 2 is my y. Now to find my x, I should have done this after the circle. I want to write this equation here. So 2x plus 4y equals negative 12. Okay, just copy it down. Don't times anything, just copy it down. So y is negative 2, so I'll be putting negative 2 in for y and then timesing those. So 4 times negative 2 is negative 8, plus here 2x before equals negative 12. And then I dot my 2x, and then I will plus 8, plus 8. So I take negative 12 plus 8, and that's negative 4. So 2 dot x equals negative 4, and then I'll divide by 2. And I take negative 4 divided by 2, and that's negative 2. So if x, they're both negative 2's then. Okay, my next problem. Again, there's no base equation. Don't have it. So I need to circle my x's, circle my y's, and circle the constants. And I don't really see it, and I'm going to write this top equation because that's how you get your second answer. You just copy this plus this equals this. Okay, that's for my second answer. Now 5 and 3 are not the same. 8 and 10 are not the same, so I have no same. Okay, so I got to do the dot, 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 dot. Okay. So what's the first number we have on the bottom? It's a 3, so we're going to times all these by 3. What's the first number I have on top? I have 5, so I'm going to times all of these by the number 5. They all got to be the same number. So 5 times 3 is 15 with x. 8 times 3 is 24 with y. And then 40 times 3 is 120. Okay. Okay, so 3 times 5 is 15 with x. Negative 10 times 5 would be negative 50 with y. Use your calculator. And then negative 13 times 5 is negative 65. Okay. Okay, so now let's try to circle them again and see what is the same. Okay. Right here's the same. Okay. So I've got 15x and 15x. Okay. They're both positives, though. One needs to be positive, one needs to be a negative for this to work. So I switch the bottom row to the opposite. So the 15 becomes negative, the negative 50 becomes positive 50, and the negative 65 becomes positive 65. Okay. And then I plus all these, plus, plus, and plus. Okay. So I take 15 plus negative 15, and I get 0, okay? I take 24, and 50 is now positive, 24 plus 50, and that's 74y. Then I take 120 plus 65. 65 is positive now, so 185. Okay, so I dot my y and divide. Okay, so I divide 185 by 74. Okay, I got 2.5. So y equals 2.5. And that's your y. Okay, now we replace the y with 2.5. So I take 2.5 times 8. And that's 20. So I have 20 plus 5x equals 40. Then I dot my 5x, I minus 20, minus 20, and that's 20. So 5 dot x equals 20. Then I divide by 5. If I take 20 and divide it into 5, that's 4. Okay, next problem. Again, there's no base. So I circle the x's, the y's, and these, and I'm going to write the top equation, 4x plus 5y equals 3. That's how I get my second answer. Okay, so do I have anything that's the same? No, 4 and 3 aren't the same, 5 and 2 aren't the same, so there is no same with the letters. Okay, so we got to do the dot, 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 dot. So what's the bottom number you have in front? 3. So 3, 3, 3. And then 4, 4, 4, 4. So I take 4 times 3, and that's 12 with x. I take 5 times 3, and that's 15 with y. And then 3 times 3 is just 9. Now on the bottom, 3 times 4 is 12 with x. Negative 2 times 4 is negative 8 with y. And then 8 times 4 is 32. Okay, now circle again, and 12 and 12 are the same. Okay, so I have 12x, 12x, and again they're both positive. That shouldn't happen. Okay, so we have to switch because they should be a positive and a negative. Because I know if I add a positive and negative the same thing, it's going to be 0. But if I add 2 positives of the same thing, it won't be 0. So negative, the 8, negative 8 becomes positive, and my 32 becomes negative. Okay, so now I do my plus, 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 plus. Okay. So 12 plus negative 12 is 0. 15 plus positive 8 is 23 with y. Means 23 times y. And then 9 plus negative 32 is negative 23. So now I can dot my y and divide by 23. So negative 23 divided by 23 is negative 1. So y equals negative 1. So negative 1. And now I'm going to put negative 1 where the y is at. So negative 1 times 5 is negative 5. And then plus 4x equals 3. So I dot my 4, circle it. Negative 5, I'd plus 5. 3 plus 5 is 8. So 4 times x equals 8. And then I divide by 4 on both sides. And 8 divided by 4 is 2. So x is 2. Okay. And then you have the ones to do on your own. Let me know if you have a problem. If you have a decimal, that's fine. Okay. If it's a really long decimal, round it. Keep going. If you have questions about how to round it, let me know.